Good evening, viewers and subscribers. And the news, again, I am just here to say the saga just continues. And you wonder, should we return to online education? Because the the incidence of violence on school compounds, violence against teens, babies against teachers, students against teachers on a whole. It is just getting more and more ridiculous. Here in an article from the Observer from Jamaica, here we have the Westmoreland police have to ramp up safe school intervention following arrest and charge of teens. Now, my people, here's what the teens are charged with. It says that in Westmoreland, police say they have ramped up safe school interventions following the arrest and charge of 2 teenage boys for robbery with aggravation and unlawful wounding stemming from incidents that occurred in the parish between Thursday, January 12th and Friday, January 13th. The investigation leading to the teens' arrest was activated from a video that was circulating on social media displaying teens of a prominent high school that seemingly formed a gang assaulting another student. The video showed several teenage boys confronting another male child, one of whom used a machete to hit the boy all over his body. It is also alleged that the child was robbed of an undisclosed sum of cash. And so following the video, the teenagers implicated were suspended from school. I'm not sure why they were only suspended. These kids need to be expelled. They don't need to be on a school ground where they are able to bring a machete to slap up another person's child, to rob him of the monies that he had. You know, we are heading in the wrong direction. It's too much now, for too long. Kids are able to bring in weapons on a school premises. What are we going to do? How are we going to do it? And so the saga continues. As our children get older, and not all of them, but the violence, the hatefulness, the lack of respect and regard for others. The gone are the days when we talk about treat each other the way you want to be treated. Because for some children, they don't know. And so the police said that along with school officials, they will be hosting a closed-door meeting with parents. Anti-gang lectures have also been scheduled in schools, and the victim support unit is also providing care. They said that we have our school resources officers who provide guidance and security dispatched to various schools on a daily basis. However, stemming from these incidents, we have increased our engagement in our schools. We're not only speaking with students, but with school officials and parents. And often we say, where are the parents? What are they doing? But sometimes it's tough because these children are so slick that they're getting things done without parents knowing. Oftentimes parents have to be rushing out to get to work, and they have to leave the kids at home. By the time they get ready and to walk through that door, we don't know what happen. And so we're just hoping that before too long, something will happen that can affect some form of change, because it's just too much. It's just spiraling now out of control. Spiraling out of control. And something needs to be done to give these young people hope, to give them, let them see that there is better out there than just the violence. There's better out there if they can just hang in there, and when they work hard, that there is a reward at the end. For too long, these young people are leaving schools. A lot of these children are children who have done well with their scholarships, gotten their scholarships so they can read and write well. But they get in the school system, and after they work hard and they get their CXCs, or they get a little bit more, and when they head out there to find work jobs, there's nothing out there. Nothing out there for them. And as one person said today, I was listening to something where she says, all around is just scamming and scamming and more scamming. People are hiring you, and they call it training. And they're taking the services of these young people, especially in the hotels. And I know this firsthand, because in the 1999 to early 2000, I know that hotels were out there hiring young people out of high school. And they take them on, and they claim that they're training them. And they would get little or nothing. They would barely be able to pay their taxi fare with what they were making. And so when you have all these people out there who they get up, and the politicians, yes, we're going to do. But the only ones who get anything out of it are the people at the top. And the burden of the countries are left on the shoulders of the middle class people and the poor people. Because when they raise the things, and when they're doing the things that they're doing, who are the ones who have to go forth? And so as they continue to pressure and it's just like a prosecution. Because if you're going to school and people are telling you, yes, go get your education is good, and you're going in and you're trying and you're doing, and at the end of the day, you're sitting home looking at your parents, you want a nice pair of shoes, you cannot afford it. Because there's no work. Nobody's thinking of how we're going to provide for these young children. A lot of them are coming out of school. A lot of them need the support. A lot of them are not going to be able to go to college because they cannot afford it. A lot of them, their parents cannot help them. And so what do we expect them to turn to? And so they join the gangs, because they can join a gang and they can scam and they can murder someone for hire and get that money. And they can join with a gang and they can go break into places and they can steal and kill and they get the blood money. And so it becomes the criminals are younger and younger. Is it because they don't care, or is it because opportunities are not there for them to strive? Some of them in their early teens, they went out and they get into relationships and things happen, and here comes a baby, and they look and there's nowhere to find a night's dinner. Their families cannot support them because they themselves are struggling. And so the crime rates climb. And innocent people get murdered. Innocent people are robbed. Innocent people are maimed. Because there are no provisions for these young kids. So what is the solution? Where can they turn? How can they be helped? How can they get a decent job? There's just so many landscaping work out there. There's only so many, you know, things out there. You look on the street sides, everybody wants to sell something, but it's too much because, you know, many people are going to go home with nothing because there are too many sellers and not enough buyers. And people would like to buy, but there's no money to buy. So what should these young people do? Walking into a school with a machete to rob a student? Picking up a gun or joining a gang to go out there to make a living? What are the governments putting in place to support these young people? You tell them go do sports, but there are only so many positions at the end of the day. So what is there for them to do? You tell them to go learn trade, all right? So they learn the trade with a workman. The workman is only making so much, so he can only give them so much. And then what? Then what? If somebody tries to buy a little car and says, all right, go on the road, we're going to put this on the road. But when you go on the road, the insurance, the licensing fees, the bad roads, there are so many negatives that if you're not able to keep up, it's like a wasted investment. You say, all right, go raise some chicken. And by the time you get them into the coop, then half of them die because of for whatever reason. And the saga continues because at the end, you're not even able to put back half of the chickens in there to buy the feed to feed them. And even if they didn't die and you raise them and they come, by the time you look to see how much you have to pay for a bag of feed, my good grief, Charlie Brown, what's left to, what is left for you? So it's not because people are not trying or parents are not trying. But when you are doing the best you can, I have a friend who leaves his house and he leaves out, he goes back in at 10 at night. So you have a family, you need to see your kids go to bed. You want to hear their voices before they go to sleep. But by the time you get home, they're fast asleep. And how do you expect, or how does one expect the family unit to stay together and to focus? Something has to give, and the government needs to get up and they need to understand they're living a big life, they're living a comfortable life, their children have more than enough to eat and they throw out and they can wear nice clothes and they can drive big cars and so they don't feel the pinch. And they get up and they give their powerful speeches. And then they go way back into their hills, into their beautiful communities. And so the struggle continues. So my people, we need to figure out how we're going to make changes. Because the violence at the school levels is not a good look. If we have children at the school level, these are children who should be thinking of which school I need to go, what am I going to do? I want to get into teaching, I want to become a police officer, a kind, decent police officer, not a crooked one. We want to get into positive places where we can make a decent living. But where should they go? Teachers are running away because of the disrespect, because of what is going on today. Teachers are running away. So how can we rectify? What's the solution? What is the solution? Because at the end of the day, the bloodshed is not going to Stop. And gang leaders are killing gang leaders, and students are beating up students and bringing in weapons to attack students, and students are fighting teachers, and teachers are getting shot, and the saga continues. It's not a good saga. And so we want more young men to be hopeful. We want them to stick around and be good fathers for their children. And we want them to start early. Instead of picking up the weapons, we want them to have something to hope for. We want them to learn to live in peace. We want each one to take care of one. Because at the end of the day, we all need each other. Sad that this was on social media because, of course, there has to be somebody with a phone they're videotaping. And that person, they find joy in seeing a young student afraid, seeing a young student attacked, and they find it funny and they find it normal to circulate it on social media. And that's where our children are today. Not only the children in Jamaica, but the children here in America. Right around. That's what they find it to be exciting. Somebody getting hurt. Somebody losing their life. Somebody in a bad situation. That's what they get excited about. You don't see them get excited about a student who receive an award or a student doing a kind thing. You don't see those circulating. What you see quickly circulate is the ugly, gory mess. They find it funny. So how are we going to change these kind of behaviors? How can we change it? People are getting killed and people are walking by, they pull out the phone. Nobody is quick to help anymore. They pull out the phones and they click, click, click. And they see who do the shooting and they don't care. Because they're not getting involved, they're not going to call names, and they're careful not to take the person's picture. But the person lying, dying, they're videotaping because that sells on social media. People get excited for that. But people, we got to find a way to save our young people. We have to. We have to figure out how to save our young people. Those of us who have young children growing up, we have to be worried as to what their futures will look like. We have to worry. Because gone are the days when you could sleep with your doors open. Gone are the days when you could walk safely on the streets. Gone are the days when you could go whenever time of day you want to go out and do your business. Now you have to be careful. You have to be cautious. Gone are the days when people had emotions, good emotions. Today people are angry. People are not doing conflict and resolutions. Every single situation becomes a weapon drawn. So tell me in the comments, people, where do you see our young people in 5 years from now? Do you think that there will be some changes made so that our children can grow up in a safer world? Talk to me, people. Doesn't look good.